A four-state medical supply company has concerns about more and more of their patients needing oxygen during the pandemic. You'll learn what they're doing to make sure everyone can breathe coming up.
And we'll look at COVID-19 numbers for area school districts.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Hospitals in parts of the southern U.S. are running low on oxygen as the pandemic continues. But what about the four-state area? This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to some local hospitals and a four-state medical supply company to find out more.
As the coronavirus rages on and the Delta variant continues to put people in the hospital, many southern hospitals in states like Florida, Texas, South Carolina, and Louisiana are running low on oxygen. Joplin's Mercy Hospital says that while their oxygen use has roughly tripled in the last 6 to 8 weeks, Mercy and its suppliers can handle the increase.
We've seen a significant climb in the amount of oxygen usage, but as far as deliveries and shortages and any notifications from the suppliers who are monitoring us regularly, we don't see any concerns.
Hospitals like Mercy may be able to handle the increased oxygen demand, but smaller operations like Kansas Medical Supply in Columbus, Kansas are feeling the pinch. They provide at-home and portable use oxygen tanks, and manager Crystal Blake says they've had to cut back on the number of tanks they can provide to customers.
We do the home fill, where they fill the tanks themselves at home, and whereas we would originally take like 4 or 5 tanks for them to fill, we're now taking like 3.
Crystal says the demand for oxygen tanks wasn't always this high, but the Delta variant has forced Kansas Medical Supply to both ration and order more tanks.
Now we are having more cases in this area to where, when it first came out, when COVID was first out, we didn't have a whole lot of requests for oxygen. There was some, but we have more requests for oxygen now with the variant and increased cases in our area.
Mercy says the majority of their COVID patients dealing with severe illness are unvaccinated, and they recommend getting the shot so you don't find yourself gasping for air. In Columbus, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
The KOAM also spoke to a representative of the Allen County Regional Hospital in Iola, Kansas. They say they're also not running low on oxygen, but they're monitoring the shortage in other states so they can stay prepared. School districts in Jasper and Newton counties in Missouri see COVID cases in the first week of school. In Carthage, there were 10 active cases among students, 1 staff case, and 47 students under quarantine. And in Neosho, 22 students have tested positive along with 3 staff members. And 62 students are considered close contacts.
If we can manage like we are right now to keep the case level low, I think we'll be okay. We're below or right at a little over 1% with students quarantined and less than 0.5% of them positive. That's doable.
Now, we spoke with Cummins early in the afternoon, and by the time the day was over, cases among students had gone from 17 to 22, and quarantines went up from 48 to 62. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced today that she's forming a work group called Safer Classrooms. The governor says it's to protect kids and school staff from COVID-19. The group will be made up of pediatricians, family physicians, pharmacologists, and psychologists.
There is nothing more important than keeping our students healthy and alive. The Safer Classrooms work group will help all of us make informed decisions to protect our children and our communities.
The governor says the work group will meet weekly to highlight the importance of protecting kids from COVID-19's Delta variant. An Oklahoma judge says she is temporarily blocking a state law banning public school mask mandates, but the personal exemptions to mask wearing will be required. Judge Natalie Mai's ruling drew praise from Governor Kevin Stitt, who opposes mask mandates without exemptions, and from Dr. Mary Clark, president of the Oklahoma State Medical Association, which joined the lawsuit challenging the law. Stitt says the ruling is a victory for parental choice, and Clark says it allows schools to maintain local control. Mai said the injunction will take effect next week when she issues a written order. Not a bad night out there, Chris Warner.
No, it's not too bad at all. And as we've been saying through the day, it's not been bad compared to what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. For the day, we made it up to 88, which is not far off the normal. Same with our low. 69 is how we started the day. 65 is where we should be. Thankfully, nowhere near those records. Skywatch Storm Tracker. Nothing in our immediate vicinity. We got to head off to the northeast in order to find the activity. And this is the remnants of Ida. They've dealt with a number of tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. Now they've got flood warnings. And check out all these storm reports. That's 4 tornado reports just in this map alone. Thankfully, our area not seeing anything like that, nor are we likely to see anything like that in the near term. As we head through tomorrow, it's not going to be too bad again. We're heading for a high of 93, starting the day about 70. It's going to be a little bit breezy. We have some thunderstorm chances by about 9:30 or so, running until about 1. And we'll reach that afternoon high of 93. And we've got some changes on the way. We're going to break those down here in just a few minutes.
Catch you then. As many Americans are gearing up for the Labor Day holiday weekend, the CDC is sending out a warning to those who are unvaccinated, urging them not to travel. Mandy Gaither has more on the recommendations.
A warning to the unvaccinated ahead of the Labor Day holiday weekend. The CDC says anyone not protected by a COVID-19 vaccine is at higher risk of being infected.
First and foremost, if you are unvaccinated, we would recommend not traveling.
For those who are fully vaccinated, if you travel, the CDC says wear a mask. But take into consideration the U.S. is surpassing an average of 160,000 new COVID-19 cases a day.
Given where we are with disease transmission right now, we would say that people need to take these risks into their own consideration as they think about traveling.
When it comes to gathering with friends and family this holiday weekend, the CDC says staying outdoors with others who are vaccinated will help prevent the spread of COVID-19. When indoors in public, wear a mask, vaccinated or not.
Wearing a mask is the easiest way for anyone, regardless of your vaccination status, to slow the spread of disease.
A new case study shows the impact of large groups of unvaccinated people gathering. 2 Illinois church events that didn't require vaccination, testing, or masks were linked to 180 COVID-19 cases, including 5 hospitalizations. Top U.S. health officials continue to say vaccination is the best protection against the virus.
Talk with family and friends who are still unvaccinated about the benefits of the vaccine and consider taking them to get vaccinated over the long holiday weekend.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Concern is growing over infections in children, many of whom don't have access to the vaccine yet. The American Academy of Pediatrics says more than 200,000 children tested positive for COVID-19 in the last week. That's a 5-fold increase from just a month ago. Texas now has one of the strictest abortion bans in the nation. The controversial law took effect today after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to block it. It prevents women from getting abortions after 6 weeks of gestation. That's before many even know they're pregnant. The law also allows citizens to sue anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion. Rights groups see the law as a direct challenge to Roe v. Wade, the landmark decision legalizing abortion. It's unclear if the law will stay on the books or further legal action will stop it. The Supreme Court is poised to rule on a 15-week abortion ban in Mississippi. Still ahead, a Missouri judge blocks an attempt to reinstate the extra federal unemployment benefit. And the public weighs in on what type of candidate they'd like to see for the open president position at Crowder College. A Missouri judge has refused to reinstate federal unemployment benefits that were cut in June when Governor Mike Parson pulled out of several programs. Cole County Circuit Judge John Beadham said the court would not substitute its judgment for that of the governor. The ruling by Beadham came a day after lawyers representing Missouri residents who lost the jobless benefits asked for reinstatement with back pay. The enhanced benefits added money to the unemployment checks for out-of-work Americans to help ease the crunch caused by shutdowns for the pandemic. But some Republican governors, including Parson, ended the benefits to try and prod people to rejoin the workforce. Crowder College in Neosho, Missouri is looking for a new president. As part of that process, the school is looking for input from the public. Today, the school hosted a public forum to lay the groundwork for what they're calling a presidential profile, which will be used in the recruitment and evaluation of candidates.
There are many capable people out there, but finding someone who's truly a fit for this college culture, which is very unique, everyone is, but that's going to be the critical challenge for the search committee and for the board. And I'm confident that we will find a really good president moving forward for the future.
The college's current president, Glenn Colthorpe, will retire at the end of the school year. As part of Missouri Southern's Japan semester, students today learned about an iconic Japanese film, Godzilla. At a seminar in Corley Auditorium called Godzilla Unbound, students learned about the film's cultural impact. Now, the original Japanese version of the film wasn't just a scare-fest monster movie. It featured allusions to the American atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Godzilla Unbound is just one piece of a larger mission at Missouri Southern this semester. Other events this week include a sidewalk chalk contest and a screening of the film Ikiru. Later, the Miami WARDOGS look to start their season 2-0 for the first time in more than a decade.
And it's going to stay warm, but not as hot as it has been, with some changes on the way. We're going to tell you about those changes right after this. Well, while it was still warm and a bit humid out there, it was nice compared to what it has been like over the last couple of weeks. Our time lapse from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri, showing relatively beautiful skies across the area, and that's echoed in the temperatures. And I say they're beautiful, and I say that's compared to what we have seen. Started the day Tuesday at 69, made it up to 88, started today at 70. And we made it up to 88 again for an afternoon high. 7th and Range line looking nice and clear, pretty good. Temperatures also looking pretty good as well. 76 is where we're at, feels like 76. Look at that. No heat index. Where over the last few days we've had heat indices upwards of 90 at this hour. So that's a nice relief. Temperatures across the area also a nice relief. We've got, check out Stockton, 68, 73 Lamar, as we mentioned, 76 Joplin. Still a little warmer to the southwest, 80 in Nevada. They did have some heat advisories out in parts of northeast Oklahoma because it was still pretty warm and muggy. Dew points have dropped off considerably, but they're still up there in that sticky to muggy range, and there's not really any heat index values at this time of night, which is pleasant to see. It's why I want to show you how nice it's become, and it's going to stay that way for a little bit. So as we go into the future, some cloud cover, some isolated showers and thunderstorms. So let's break that down. We're going to start the day partly cloudy at 70. 79 by 10, and between roughly 9 and 1, we're going to see some thunderstorm chances build in. It's going to be a little breezy ahead of that before we hit an afternoon high of 93 degrees. Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing really going on in our area right now. You got to go up to the northeast where they've been dealing with the remnants of Ida. They've had tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flood warnings, the whole shebang up there, and they're still getting hammered with that. So here's where the future is going to take us. This is 10:30 on Thursday, and there's some of those storms starting to develop. Northeast Oklahoma, some scattered storms in southwest Missouri. As the afternoon goes on, 4:30, they start to clear out, but then take a look to the northwest. We have a cool front, that's off to our northwest, is going to be bringing in increased storm chances, unfortunately, just in time for the holiday weekend. So as we go through Friday, you can kind of see where that frontal boundary is because there's those thunderstorms developing. We head into Friday afternoon, few scattered thunderstorms still possible across the area, but again, not looking too terribly shabby. And then we get into the weekend, and unfortunately, the temperatures go down, and as you can see across the whole area, the thunderstorm chances increase. So let's take a look now at that 7-day forecast that's going to break down those thunderstorm chances. So tomorrow, 30% chance is what we're thinking right now. As you can see, it starts to increase by Friday. We get into Saturday and Sunday, 50% chance of showers and storms, I'm afraid to say. But check out these temperatures, 86 Saturday, 80 by Sunday. Look at those overnight lows dropping down, 65. We get into Labor Day. We're going to start the day maybe with a few thunderstorms where we warm up to 92. And then next week, those warm temperatures, we get this little break, but they are going to come back, and some of the computer models say that those temperatures are going to come back with a vengeance, so we got to enjoy it while we got it.
Yeah, Highs in the 80s are pretty rare this time of year, actually. I guess we'll have to enjoy them briefly anyway. Thanks. As Chris mentioned, 3 days after Hurricane Ida devastated the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, the Mississippi remnants of that storm, well, they're still causing dangerous weather for millions. Mike Helgren reports from Baltimore, Maryland.
Ida is wreaking more havoc as it moves north after dealing a devastating blow to the Gulf Coast. Several tornadoes were spotted in Maryland Wednesday.
We moved away from the windows because all kinds of debris was crashing into the window.
At least one twister causing a potentially dangerous gas leak. In Rockville, a man was killed and another resident reported missing after floodwaters reached the ceilings of these ground floor apartments.
They were able to evacuate about 10 people from their windows. Right now we have about 150 people that are displaced.
Here in Baltimore, some streets in low-lying areas flooded and people were advised to move to higher ground.
We're a little bit worried too because we're on the ground floor of our apartment building.
To the northwest, this school bus was stuck in floodwaters just outside Pittsburgh. And days after Ida pummeled southeastern Louisiana as a Category 4 hurricane, hundreds of thousands of New Orleans residents remain stuck in the dark. On the ravaged Grand Isle Barrier Island, there's no end in sight.
We have no food, we have no water, we shut the gas off, and we have no electricity.
President Biden is set to visit Louisiana to survey the damage on Friday. Mike Helgren, CBS News, Baltimore, Maryland.
The death toll from Ida rose to at least 6 after a coroner confirmed a 65-year-old woman had drowned in her Louisiana home. Coming up in sports, the Cardinals and Reds play a doubleheader to finish up their 3-game series, and the Miami WARDOGS aim for a 2-0 start in Friday's home opener. Jacob Leonard has that story next.
The Miami WARDOGS snapped a 19-game losing streak last Friday, winning their season opener over Dewey. Now, the young WARDOGS are preparing for their home opener this Friday, aiming to do something the program has not done in 16 years.
The Miami WARDOGS are coming off their first win since 2019.
It feels great. I mean, it just proves to the kids that hard work pays off. It was so loud, I'll tell you that right now, but it was just crazy. Everybody's just hyped, jumping on each other, hugging, a little crying here and there. It's just not used to it. It's definitely a different feeling. Feels amazing. Just starting out like this, want to know.
This Friday, they'll play their home opener against Jay.
A very physical football team and kind of the old style pursuit of the wishbone. So it's going to be a very physical game and see how our kids respond to the physicality, because we come off of a finesse team in Dewey who throws it 30-plus times a game to ground pound team that we're going to have to respond to.
With a win, the WARDOGS will be off to a 2-0 start for the first time since 2005.
Well, it'll just be a huge confidence builder. I mean, it's what these kids need. It's not going to be athleticism right now that we're lacking in. It's just the maturity and just some self-confidence, knowing that they're still capable of doing it. They won at the grade school and middle school levels, and that's a total different ball game. But now you have 14, 15-year-olds, facing 18, 19-year-olds, and that's a big maturity division right there. But if our kids can find a way to fight and win right now, the future's really bright here at Miami.
This Miami roster is a young one, featuring just 6 juniors and 6 seniors. It's their sophomore class with 20 players that brings the numbers and plenty of talent, hoping to make winning a weekly expectation now and in the future.
This group right here is pretty special that they're sophomores now, and all they've known is us as far as a staff. So we established stability with those kids. The relationships are great, and they've really bought in.
They're definitely bigger, stronger coming up throughout the program, and we definitely rely on them with the numbers that they have. They're pretty much the heart of our team.
We have a challenging upcoming schedule, but 1 week at a time, we feel like this is a team that we match up well with, and we need to go get another one.
Now, the WARDOGS are in their 4th season under Coach Gardner. Kickoff for Friday's game against Jay is at 7 o'clock. The St. Louis Cardinals wrap up their 3-game series with the Reds tonight. The two teams are playing a doubleheader to finish today after Game 2 was rained out yesterday. Now, in Game 1, it was a tight one, but the Cardinals come out on top 5-4. Paul Goldschmidt goes 2 for 2 in this one with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So now to Game 2. Just telling you now, it didn't go that well. Nick Castellanos' 2-run homer in the first. Reds lead 2-1. Then Castellanos next inning. This time bases loaded. Grand slam for Cincinnati. Home run number 26 on the year for Castellanos. Now we're still in the second inning. Reds really just start to pour it on. Kyle Farmer, 2-run homer. Reds get 12 runs on 12 hits. They beat the Cardinals 12-2. In the American League, the Kansas City Royals hit the field tonight for Game 2 of their series against Cleveland. The Royals dropped the opener last night 7-2. Tonight, though, we got a little free baseball. This one tied 3-3 in the 10th. Adalberto Mondesi is 2 for 4 with a solo home run. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, First Lieutenant Robert Bicknell. The Pittsburgh native served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to salute First Lieutenant Robert Bicknell. He's tonight's four-state hero. Watch a surprise guest show up during a weather report in Canada. Anthony Farnell was going live with a weather update for Global News when his golden doodle named Storm decided to steal the green screen show. Viewers didn't seem to mind. They praised the cameo on social media. One called it perfect for the dog days of summer. Storm is a cute dog, but you know, storms sometimes they will leave puddles behind, and it could have made for a more interesting show.
Well, hopefully the puddles are a little bit on the green side so you wouldn't see them.
I guess so. He didn't know what he had in mind when he was sniffing around there, though. The weather is going to be getting hotter eventually.
Eventually, but thankfully, at least for the next few days, it's not going to be too terribly bad. On the 7-day forecast, you can see we warm back up a little bit through Friday, cool down by the weekend, but we trade that for some thunderstorm chances, and then by next week, those warm temperatures could be on the rebound.
Final sports notes.
So when I came down here, the Royals had the bases loaded and no outs in the bottom of the 10th, and so I was checking to see who hit the walk-off, and they didn't score.
Oh.
So
They're in the 11th now.
They're in the top of the 11th.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.